welcome back to the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Cerrone, and Tom Crane is here live via the iPhone FaceTime chat from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. But the show is, of course, from Portland, Oregon, as usual. Thank you so much for listening again. Of course, March 14, 2016, which means tomorrow starts the beginning of what should be a national holiday, really, March Madness. Everyone started to create their brackets. The odds, of course, Tom will tell you of trying to get a perfect bracket are really, really high. I'm just kidding, they're low. But anyway, there's a lot to talk about. We could talk about NBA, we could talk about NFL, even Major League Soccer, and the English Premier League in particular too. But this isn't the show for it. All we're doing today is strictly March Madness. That is it. So Tom and I are going to go through region by region, go what we think are probably the best picks to get you the best bracket, and probably win your league. Because obviously, if you're going to enter a bracket, more than likely you're going to enter it in a pool. Maybe it's in an office, or maybe it's with friends, whatever. So without further ado, let me just turn up the volume here so that way we can bring in Tom to the scene here. So Tom, say hello to the pretty people out here.
Hello, pretty people. How are you all doing today?
Awesome. Okay. So, obviously, Tom, you had some stats before we get started here. So what are some of the stats that you mentioned about this March Madness bracket? Again, some of them are fascinating and some of them may not be. But, Tom, go ahead.
Well, I've been reading a couple articles ever since March Madness started happening, and everybody was getting ready for it. And I found out that the Duke math professor says that the odds of a perfect bracket are 1 in 2.4 trillion with a T. This is just amazing because when you looked back a couple of months ago, when the biggest power jackpot was going on, the odds for that were just 1 in 292.2 million, which is, there's a word billion, which is, in between those two, so you can imagine how many different ways you can stack your bracket, and you can make millions upon millions before the beginning of the start, but you probably won't even get it right.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, Tom. I mean, there's upsets everywhere. The one I don't think that's going to happen is a 1 versus 16. I think all the number 1 seeds are really strong. Kansas, North Carolina, Oregon, which got a surprise bid as a number 1 in Virginia. Oregon got their first. This is their first time Oregon's a number 1 seed ever. Their highest ranking previously was back in 2002. Obviously, we know Virginia's been a powerhouse before in the 80s. North Carolina in the last 10 years, they've been a number 1 seed year in year out from time to time. And then Kansas, I would say out of all the teams, again, this is a season where you look at how it's shifted back and forth, but Kansas really stayed in the top 5 in the rankings. So, I mean, you shouldn't be that surprised that they're the overall number 1 seed heading into the tournament, considering they clinched the Big 12 championship and the conference championship as well, in arguably what's the deepest conference in the country right now in the Big 12. I mean, I think you have 7 teams, if I'm not mistaken, in the tournament for the Big 12, which is 70% of their the league in the tournament. That's pretty impressive if you ask me. Again, some of the number 2 seeds, they're not too bad as well. Some of the shockers for me in terms of seeding, everyone said Indiana as a 5 seed got screwed really. I mean, it's interesting because again they lost in the opening round of their tournament to Michigan, and I'm not saying they should be a 5 seed, but they shouldn't have been on the 1 or 2 line, especially after losing an opening round to Michigan, who really wasn't that good this season. Kentucky being a 4 seed, and especially the fact that the team that they beat, Texas A&M, is a 3 seed, is a little bit surprising as well. Other notables here, you have West Virginia's a 3, Xavier's a 2. Let's see, Maryland, my Terps, they're a 5 seed. I'm not surprised that they're a 5 seed. They haven't been playing so well, but I'll let you know how far they'll get in my bracket here. And honestly, this is a tournament where I just don't think number 1 seeds. Here's my first tip: don't pick number 1 seeds. Just chalk all the way, because it doesn't happen. It's only happened a couple times. The last one was in 2009, I believe, where Memphis made the national championship against Kansas. So, I mean, it doesn't happen very often. So, I mean, if you're going to go chalk, that's probably unlikely. And be realistic as well in your expectations. I don't think all these, again, like I said, all these number 1 seeds aren't going to be so hot. Number 2 seeds, I have 2 seeds going out early too. And honestly, there's a lot of double-digit seeds that won their conference tournament and have been surprising. Notably, if you're going to go out to the West Coast, Gonzaga, obviously, Tom, as you know, they had to essentially win their West Coast Conference to get into the tournament. Otherwise, they weren't going to get in. And the other one, Seton Hall. I don't think they're a double-digit seed, but they're a seed that's I didn't expect to do what they did, and they're pretty impressive. They're really impressive going to this tournament. Tom, what do you have thoughts before we do our picks here on the bracket for this year?
Well, as you were talking about Seton Hall, I do agree. They look like a powerhouse going into the tournament. Where they are in the Midwest, I can see them going pretty far, at least to the Sweet 16. But other than that, you're correct in saying all number 1s I don't see them making, or some of them going all the way to the Final Four. Some of them will be dropping out. I was not impressed with Villanova being put as a number 2. I would have seen them going down as a number 3 at least, because they were not acting like a big team in the end. And when it came to Kentucky and Duke at number 4s in their respective sides, I would have dropped Duke a little bit lower, maybe a 5 or a 6. But Kentucky, they were up in the beginning, but as they dropped, they tried to find their fire, their competitiveness, and they did near the end. But I still see them as a 5 or a 6 as well.
Okay. Look, Tom, this is going to be good. So without further ado, let's get started. We're first going to start in the region, in the South, Kansas's region. Again, Kansas is the number 1 overall seed heading into the tournament. You shouldn't be surprised at that just because of the overall consistency that they've played throughout the season. Again, granted, they've had their slip-up moments throughout the season, but then again, a lot of other teams have had worse. So really, it's about who slipped up the least to make up the number 1 spot. There really isn't a dominant, like I mentioned, a 2012 Kentucky team that you know is just going to roll through this tournament. So, I mean, but overall, Kansas is a pretty deep team. I mean, when you look at what they have, Perry Ellis, who's arguably a candidate for Player of the Year, Wayne Selden, who we saw the phenomenal dunk he had in the tournament, and a great backcourt as well, in Mason as well from the shooting. Absolutely lights out as overall in this tournament, at least in the conference tournament. So we'll see what happens. Again, Kansas is the number 1 overall seed. Other notables in this bracket: Maryland is the number 5 seed. Arizona is the 6. Miami, they're a team that, again, many people think can get to the Final Four. And then the number 2 seed is also as well, Villanova. So without further ado, let's go with our picks here. Tom, Kansas and Austin Peay. I'm assuming you're going to go with the same as me. Kansas, blend a blowout here.
That is correct. Also, just to let you know, I am using the Yahoo Fantasy Sports website for this, which gives an excellent breakdown of each team and statistics. So just letting you know, and I'm going with Kansas.
Perfect. I have ESPN up, so I guess we have 2 different sources, which is good. Everyone needs their variety to pick from. 8-9 matchup. Again, 8 and 9. It's always a toss-up. You never know. But for this one, it isn't even close for me. I'm picking UConn. Look, and I mentioned this. I posted this on social media a couple days ago. You know March Madness is coming around the corner when UConn is going into multiple overtimes in their conference tournament, and they win. You don't know how, but they're going to win. And this UConn team, again, it's not like the Kemba Walker team of all those years ago, nor the Shabazz Napier team from just like I think 2-3 seasons ago that won it all. But again, it's still a dangerous team, and I would say if you're gonna go hot in the tournament, you probably have a better shot. So, for me, I'm going to pick UConn over Colorado. Tom?
I'm going to do the same thing. I'm picking UConn over Colorado just because Colorado has not impressed me throughout their regular season, and also the fact that they are 26th ranked in efficiency with defense. UConn, as you said, very surprising when they get to the tournament. Their offense clicks, their defense clicks, and I just see it being a double-digit win for the UConn.
Okay, perfect. 5-12 matchup, my Terps and South Dakota State. This is in Spokane, so for me, it's a 6-hour drive. I'm still debating about going right now. Still haven't decided. But when you look at Maryland, on paper, they at the beginning of the season, they were a Final Four team, as high as a number 2 ranking overall. But really, their inconsistency has just troubled me thus far. They have playmakers. They have Jake Layman, Melo Tremble, who are able to put the ball on the floor and go inside, as well as Diamond Stone, their center, who's been fantastic, but again, inconsistent nonetheless. That being said, they are playing a South Dakota team that's gonna really push them to the limit. Some people are picking this as a potential upset. I'm not going with my Terps here.
I'm going with your Terps as well, because the only big thing about South Dakota State is a 6'9", 245-pound Mike Dam, who is averaging 15.2 points per game and 6 rebounds per game, but he's only lasting 20 minutes per game off the bench. So if he's the only ace on that team, I don't see them going any farther than the round of 64.
Okay, perfect. Cal Hawaii, one of the other matchups in Spokane. Again, this is a matchup. Cal's been really good thus far. When really good when they need to be, I would say, but not good when they're not supposed to be. Hawaii, again, 27-5, really good record thus far. But again, when you look at the overall resume, again, it shouldn't surprise you. Look, Cal 2-4 against the top 25. Hawaii 0-1. Conference play, it's very close. And then you look at their last 12 games; they're pretty even. But to be honest, I'm going to go with the bigger team, Cal. I don't know too much about Hawaii. They did have infractions, so they're going to be banned from next season's tournament, so they want to make the most of this tournament. That being said, I think Cal has too much offensive power, considering they did beat teams like Oregon, they beat teams like Utah, Arizona, who were tougher in the conference. So I'm going to go with Cal over Hawaii.
Well, this is going to be the first one that you're going to be wrong with, because I see Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors, beating Cal. My reason for that is the trio hot shooting combination of Stefan Djokovic. I know I probably butchered that name a little bit. And he's been shooting lights out, 15.7 points per game, and rebounding 6.6 rebounds also, which is a good job protecting the paint with 1.2 blocks per game. The second of the trio is point guard Reddick Bobbitt, who's doing 13.3 points per game and 5.5 assists per game. And who Cal needs to stop if they want to beat Hawaii, which is junior guard Aaron Valdez. So if Hawaii's trio actually does well enough and stops California's defense or offense, I can see Hawaii upsetting California.
All right. So let's take a look here. Okay, perfect. So on to the next one. Arizona, they will take on the winner of Vanderbilt versus Wichita State. For me, it doesn't matter who comes out of there. I'm still picking Arizona. They're a team that's still pretty dangerous. Again, last year they went to the Final Four, pretty impressive. Or the Elite Eight, I'm sorry. Again, not a big resume against the top 25. That being said... Oh, hold on. There we go. Okay, that being said, I think that Arizona is still a deep team. They still have a fairly good roster, I would say. Wichita State has lost Fred Van Fleet, the guy from the Final Four, who as a freshman was fantastic, but this year he's not on the team due to injury. And again, Vanderbilt's been pretty inconsistent as well. Going with Arizona, moving on to the next round.
This is going to be short and sweet. I'm picking Arizona as well.
Perfect. 3-14 matchup, Miami-Buffalo. Jim Larinaga is back in the tournament after a couple years, if that name's